This is Banging on the Drum. It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to episode 133 of Banging on the Drum. The episode name is going to be Whooping Ass and Taking Name on the Road this week. I'm your host, P Dog, joined alongside our other host, M Dog. And M Dog, how are you feeling after this weekend?
So I'm pretty good. Had a good weekend. Packers won. Badgers win. I got a deer today. Life is fucking good.
Catching deer out there, tracking them down.
Catching deer. Yes, I tracked this baby. I was pretty excited about the way I actually got this one. Fucked up early in the morning, right? So I get like 25 deer to roll in front of me, and so which is kind of a lot. They're all like right there. They're all in like pretty much the shooting zone. Like every one of them is right there, and so I can't really move because one of them is gonna catch you and then bust all of them, right? But I get my gun up. I got this buck in my sights. Pulled the trigger. Click. Nothing.
Are you pretty good at like evaluating that situation? I remember when I hunted with you at your land, like I had deer roll up on me like that. I don't know if it was quite 24, but it was a bunch of them. And I remember, I think you told me beforehand, he's like, is you're gonna be your first deer, so like just get one and then we'll deal with it later. But I remember when I was like aiming at them, I was like, I don't even know which one's the biggest one. Like I can't tell, so I'm just gonna point at that one.
Yeah. So I think I've gotten better about that, especially because most of what I try to shoot now is bucks, right? So I used to get real antsy, but now there two bucks came in at the same time, and I could tell one was a little bit bigger than the other. And so like I took the second one. And usually like now I've noticed that if two bucks roll in, or if one buck rolls in and then there's another one behind him, the one behind him is going to be bigger. If you can't tell, like the one behind him is always bigger than the first one.
I wonder why that, if that's actually a thing, or like if there is a reason why that's a thing,
or if it's just something that like I think happens, right? You know,
more than likely, yeah, that's probably what it is.
But like if does come through, it feels like the big doe comes first and then the little doe comes second.
Okay, yeah,
which is weird, right? But I do think I can tell the difference between the size of deer because I take my time before I shoot, and then I don't shoot a lot of does, and then they'll probably like be like right next to each other at some point before.
So you were pretty confident when you had your unloaded gun that you were aiming at the biggest one in this mess of
the biggest buck for sure. Yeah. Okay. So there was 22 of them were does.
Okay.
Just the two bucks came in, and so like if there was another buck behind them, like I guess which is a possibility, but like
that one was probably fucking ginormous.
It was just a giant, and I would have
missed. You should have waited.
Should have waited for him. See, but that's kind of the issue is that like you wait too long, and then all of a sudden he doesn't come, and then you got nothing. But click, we get to rack around. I thought I racked around at my car like I normally do, and then walk in, right? And so click, everybody, all the fucking deer scatter. Few of them roll back through, but like they all just scatter. Like, and so I basically was thinking, oh, I'm fucked. I'm not going to have like any real opportunity like the rest of the hunt. You know, if I stay out all day, like maybe something else will come through. But all those deer that were in that area at that time, I don't think are coming back unless they get spooked into my space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you need someone to kick them up. That was my specialty when I was hunting. I was the guy that couldn't sit still, so they would be like, "Go walk through the woods." Yeah.
There we go. And so, anyway, I was like, "All right, you guys," sitting there, and I'm kind of pissed about like the way shit went. And I decided, like, well, we just got snow this morning. These are the only deer that have been through this space. Like, so when I was walking, I was looking to see like where the deer like walking in here, and there was nothing, which surprised me. But like, because it snowed at like 6 o'clock last night, 7 o'clock last night. It already snowed. And so I was like, well, I'll just like find like this trail. I know where he was at here. I know kind of the direction he went in. So I'll just find the trail that he went on and I'll follow it up. And I did that. Seen him pop up and he moved and he was standing in the woods there and got him.
Didn't miss twice.
Well, I didn't miss the first time really either. I don't consider that a miss. I have missed deer that I should have hit. And,
yeah. Well, you didn't mess up twice. I'm proud of you, Mike. Good work out there.
9-pointer.
Nine pointer. What did it score on the buck index or whatever that is?
It's probably not great. It's not a huge 9-pointer, but and I don't know that I like identified the larger buck out of the two. Like when I was.
Didn't you say your uncle got the other one?
Yeah, and that one is definitely bigger. The antlers are.
Oh,
they're about. Mine's probably a little bit wider, but his is definitely thicker and taller. So
the Showalter's buck indices right there.
Is that what it is? I did not.
That's like a weather term.
Oh, he probably is not the biggest deer I've ever shot.
All right. Well, you got one.
Antlers off. Yeah. I was pretty happy. It was last day of the season.
Yeah, your kids can eat for a couple weeks still, so you're good to go. All right, Mike, you ready to roll into the show?
Yep.
All right. So we got to start with the bad news. Actually, let's start with the good news. Let's start with the good news. So, Mike. No, we're starting with the bad news. Sorry. I'm just okie doking you guys. So we do our 6-pack and a pound brought to you by Taco John's. Go out there and get a 6-pack and a pound. Probably get some nacho cheese, maybe a side of sour cream and some guacamole to put that pound down. But our betting this week, Mike went 2-4. Looks like he's in good shape on his Ravens bet, which will put him at 3-4. Who knows? There's still half football to be played though. But anyways, Mike is minus 300 at the moment. And I went 5-2 on plus 600 and then plus 1200 on the season. I'm just taking it to you, Mike. I'm 3,800 bing bongs ahead of you in the challenge. So Mike's negative 2,600 bing bongs. So good thing you got that deer because he's not going to be spending bing bongs on money or spending bing bongs on food anytime soon. But Mike, you're ready to face the music. And Mike cracks back that sun drop. And if you didn't know, if you're joining, we shot loser shotguns a sun drop. Mike's getting really, really good at it. He just put that one down in, I want to say that was like a good 20 seconds, probably less. We should start timing them, but you look good. Your eyes, how you feeling?
Little water.
I would get flustered and sweaty right afterwards. Like there's something weird that happens to me. And then I'm flustered and I can't really talk good right afterwards.
Yeah, I feel like that's what used to happen to me when I drank beers. Like I would get, and it wasn't sweaty, but I would always it was like a shame, right? Like that I shouldn't be drinking anything.
Really?
And I'd be like cold and like shiver. Yeah, like probably for like 5 years after I started drinking.
Did you say ashamed?
Yeah, like it was like I wasn't ashamed. That's not like what my brain told me.
Oh, okay.
Right? But like I felt like that's what my body was telling me. Like you're fucking up here, dude. It was weird.
All right. Well, we will roll into the good news. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know how to respond to that. So we're just rolling into the good news here. So Mike puts out a preview that you guys should check out before the games on Sunday or whatever. This game was Thursday. Mike put it out Wednesday. We were a little late with it, but it was like press for time. Yeah, press for time. But you went in there and hammered some points home. I was gonna rewatch it and write your points down. Actually, we probably have it in Google Doc, but it was pretty phenomenal how like tit for tat you went with like what the Packers actually ended up doing in the game and like why they were so successful in that game. And I do think a lot of those, and I think you would admit yourself that they're pretty cliche a lot of times. Like,
oh yeah,
like long story short, score more points than the other team and you're gonna win. But yours was like good. Like it was like throw a bomb to Christian Watson early.
Yeah, but so the throw a bomb to Watson is like one I put in every time. I want like a huge play. And I actually think I throw like an early play to Watson deep, right?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Because I had a big play in there too, where I wanted Dylan to take one to the house from 50 plus.
Yeah, and I mean he had his big play there in that game as well. But no, I thought you did a good job on that. So I wanted to give you your flowers when it came to that. But you ready for the play-by-play of the game? We're gonna see if this is the smoothest one I can ever do.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I was waiting for you to say ready. So now
ready, set, go.
Okay. First drive of the game. Packers start out the game with the aforementioned bomb to Christian Watson. 53-yard pass on that one. The only thing I had to say about that pass, it does look like if Love would just try to outthrow him or overthrow him, that this one might have been a touchdown right off the bat. But I mean, it definitely did build momentum. Obviously a 53-yard pass, but then we capped off that drive with a 10-yard touchdown pass to Jayden Reed. Next drive we had to follow. This was one of the more disappointing things of the game, but there wasn't many disappointing things in the game, but we just end up giving up a touchdown right away back to Detroit. There was a pass interference by Quay Walker on that one, continued to drive, but they finished that drive with a touchdown pass to Sam Laporta, but they end up missing the extra point. We get the ball back, and I'm trying to remember the big play on this one, but this is the drive we finished with a touchdown pass to Tucker Kraft. But yeah, just a pretty methodical drive, nickel and diamond down, 75 yards, 10 plays, 5 minutes and 22 seconds. So pretty good for time of possession. And then Tucker Kraft wide open on what seemed to be a pretty well schemed up play for the Packers to score that touchdown. It does seem like when someone gets gypped out of a touchdown, like the previous week, they try to go back and give them a touchdown. It took them a little while to cap the one off to Musgrave after like a big miss over the middle, but they see that stuff. And I think Kraft on that play last week, where he jumps the dude and he runs down sideline, I think they really realized that they had a guy, and then it didn't hurt that Musgrave was out, so he was kind of the only guy there. But pretty cool.
So was that when they didn't give him the first down? It was like on the 10-yard line, 9-yard line, or something like that. They didn't give him the first down, and then they threw that. Is that when that touchdown went in?
I think so, because it was a 3rd and 1 at the Detroit 9. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So they tried to get the first down on 2nd and 2 with a run with AJ Dillon,
and I think they got it pretty easy. Just got a terrible spot.
Yeah, something like that. I don't recall it that well, but anyways, great drive, capped off with a touchdown. And then we come out. Gary forces a fumble. Jonathan Owens picks it up, runs it back 27 yards for a touchdown. A little bit of confusion on that play. It was a very smart heads-up play for him to pick up and run back for a touchdown. I do feel like that play, the refs are maybe getting smarter with that, like where they're not blowing it dead, like where it looks like it could have been a pass. I seen it. I was watching the Eagles and Bills game. Same thing happened, but it was pretty clearly a pass in the Eagles-Bills game, and they still didn't blow it dead just to so they could go back and review it. So that was pretty cool that one didn't get blown dead on us. But anyways, score a touchdown there, go up 20-6. Carlson misses the extra point on this one, so I guess there's where we could add another weakness into it, because it is starting to become a little bit of a theme. His brother missed a field goal or an extra point, or I think a 30-yard field goal today too. So it might run in the family. We might need to get rid of this guy, Mike.
I don't think so.
No, I
I'm
don't.
not worried yet. Not yet. I'm not worried.
No, our boy Chris Jackie came out with a thing. So the big thing going on right now is like Love through 11 games and Aaron Rodgers through 11 games. It is pretty incredible. Like I want to say they both have 2,599 yards.
Yeah, it's like the exact same amount of yards. That's what I saw. I don't know if that was true or not. So
yeah, no, I definitely thought I was getting punked on Twitter, but it ran. So I mean, if it's false, there's a lot of people rolling with that narrative. But anyways, Carlson and Crosby have a very similar track record. I think Crosby might have hit like 88% of his kicks, where Carlson's at like 87 or something like that.
Okay.
Crosby didn't miss any extra points, but that was back when the extra point was a little bit closer to.
From the 2, right? So it's a lot easier kick.
Yeah, but next drive we come out and force another fumble. This one, Carl Brooks forces the fumble and recovers the fumble. So the Packers start this drive at the Detroit 23. End up getting no points out of this. We do a 4 and out. So that is one of the points like where we could have really stepped on throat. If we got a touchdown there, like the game was for sure over at that point. We're going to kind of fast forward through the rest of the first half. The Packers end up getting another field goal in this and then missing a field goal. But I want to say that field goal was, it was a 63-yard field goal attempt. So I guess if they thought he was a bad kicker, I don't think they would trot him out for this one. But second half starts, Detroit gets the ball first. They go down the field, get a touchdown. So rough start to the first half for the Packers. We end up punting the ball to them. They turn it over on downs. But then we capitalize on that very quick. We get it at the Detroit 20. Oh, that was a fake punt. Okay. I was real curious about this. So just a ultimate, good on the Packers, because that's one of the things. I don't remember if you put it in your keys to success, but I definitely remember the last time we played Detroit, which was early in the season, where I think we were still doing 2 shows a week pretty consistently. That was my one thing, was expect something crazy from Dan Campbell. Like every single game, there's going to be something crazy. So they were on that one.
And that was the rookie, the first-round rookie. Van Ness is the one that kind of sniffed it out and handled it.
Yeah, so good on him. Yep, they fuck up, and then we do kind of step on their throat a little bit here. Cap it off with a pretty quick 16-yard touchdown pass to Christian Watson. So Watson was having a hell of a day. Detroit gets the ball back again, and Gary forces another fumble on this one. So he forced 2 fumbles, and he recovered this fumble. So I didn't realize he had 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a recovered fumble. So hell of a day out of Gary. Got the game ball. That was pretty cool at the end of that. Then I guess kind of a garbage time touchdown for Detroit. They get the ball. I fast forward a couple drives here, but they get the ball at their own 9, do put together a pretty good drive to go down and score a touchdown. Like I said, 91
when they're down 2, when they're down 15, right? So they're like, the game isn't really close. There's 3 minutes left, something like that, 4 minutes left when they start.
Yeah, 2 minutes 46 seconds. So yeah, 3 minutes.
And so like the idea that I would assume Joe Barry's going off of there is like, just make them drive the ball, right? Do not give up the big. Like this is where you play let them have everything underneath.
Like a Joe Barry defense, right?
This is Joe Barry's bread and fucking butter. Right?
Yep.
This is what we need for. Yep. Yeah. And so like this was the perfect time to be playing Joe Barry defense, and that's what they did. They kept him in bounds a couple times when they needed to, and just let that clock tick down. I think they were out of timeouts at that point as well, right? No, maybe not. They had 2 to finish the game. I think because it was like 41 seconds, and they had 2 timeouts.
Yeah,
that's how I knew we were going to win after the onside kick.
So they used a timeout. They used 2 timeouts on that drive. I think there was a penalty where they had to use a timeout.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, never mind. They used a timeout, then Green Bay used a timeout. So you're right. They had 2 timeouts in their pockets, right, going into the next drive. But
so they took 2 minutes to score on that drive. So we're pretty
2 minutes 5 seconds, yeah. So yeah,
and so that was 41 seconds. All we have to do is recover the kick, which, as Auburn knows, is not as easy as it can be, right? So Auburn fumbles a kick, a punt.
Yeah, I only seen the end of that game. That was crazy. The end of the Iron Bowl there. But yeah, we recover the onside kick, sit on the ball, get the victory. But just all around great game. Yeah, did you hear the final verdict on why we did not get the turkey leg?
So I've heard that Olsen rips the turducken apart, and that was the only one they had. I find that very difficult.
So I heard one tweet. I can't even remember who tweeted it, but it seemed pretty reputable. It didn't seem like it was one that was messing with us. But they branded the turkey.
I saw that one too, and I thought it was fucking bullshit. Like, who would do that? Like, you think there's no chance the Packers can win that game?
Yeah, but anyways, what they said was they branded it with Detroit, and then they didn't want to run it out there, which I find kind of crazy. too, especially where it wouldn't be that hard to just brand it like last second and run it out there. Like,
And so let's be honest, like you're making, I mean, you have to be making a lot of money every time you show any football game on TV. Be my assumption, right? Like you're making good money. Like you pay a ton of money to have the rights to these games. So there's no way you're not making money. And so, like, $50 or $100 turkey shouldn't be like the issue here.
Yeah,
or like even if Olsen does rip that one apart, like why aren't you just like cutting off the leg of the thing that he didn't touch?
Yeah, we got
You know,
Turkey Gate on our hands.
Turkey Gate.
Those are some good points. But
so like Aaron Rodgers like was mad because like everybody passed on him in the draft or whatever. Like he was always kind of pissy about something that was the chip on his shoulder. This is fucking love chip on the shoulder.
Love's revenge tour. He's got to get that turkey leg because I don't think we'll be playing on Thanksgiving again next year. I guess I don't know how that works really, but maybe.
We're gonna play Detroit, so we could always play Detroit on Thanksgiving.
I guess, yeah.
We play Detroit twice every year. We could play them every year on Thanksgiving if Detroit wanted us to.
And we did play them both times on Thursday nights this year, so that's or Thursdays. I guess not Thursday nights, but
right.
But yeah, back to the game. All around, really good game from the Packers. I did want to just check out because we've been constantly complaining about the penalties. So we did still have 7 penalties for 60 yards. We didn't win the time of possession thing, but I think it's because we were going down and scoring a little bit more often. And we actually were out.
And we get a fumble recovery or 2 or 3 that like makes drives way shorter or no drive at all.
Yeah, and that is exactly where it comes down to is the big categories that you like to see your team win is time possession. A lot of times, I guess that can be kind of skewed because like what you just said right there. But we won the turnover battle 3-0, and ended up with a game where the score was probably a little bit closer than it really was at the end of the game there. But yeah, what are your takeaways from this game, Mike?
All right, so I'm just going to jump into our SWAT here, and so like we'll start off with our strengths, which is kind of the way we like to roll with it. And I think right now, everything that's happening on the field is a strength. The receivers are playing really well. Rashawn Gary and the defense are playing really well. Gary and Brooks are probably the two that like stand out the most to me. But Preston Smith is a guy that I want on my team, like all the time. It feels like the secondary is killing it. Valentine playing out of their minds for guys who I don't even think we expected to necessarily contribute at all.
Yeah, not much. Maybe the corner, or I mean, maybe the nickel corner spot.
Feels like the defense every time there's an opportunity to get a break is getting that break. When there's a fumble, they're recovering it. When there's an opportunity to get the fumble and not like have them pass it, they're getting there. They're doing the things. They're creating their own luck, right? The O-line is keeping Love clean, and when Love is staying clean in the pocket, he is killing people. He is smoking right now, just rolling. I think they're saying that he has through the same amount of starts has like the exact same yards as Rodgers, which is absolutely crazy to me. Doesn't really make sense.
Say that one again.
That Love and Rodgers have like the similar numbers through the same starts.
Oh yeah.
And what you mentioned earlier, which seems crazy, but it still is pretty cool. All right, so everything really on the field is going right. Like there's no issues there. Weaknesses. This is one that is driving me crazy probably the last like 3 weeks. Matt LaFleur at halftime just wants to fucking do nothing. He wants to do a little screenplay, and if that doesn't go anywhere, then we're going to kneel it out and head to the fucking locker room. And I think that the best coaches in the league have taken advantage of that halftime, like swing of possession. We're going to get 2 in the first half, and then like we're not going to or like we get the ball at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half, we're going to go touchdown, and put you in a deficit right off the jump. Carlson misses an extra point, he misses a field goal, which the field goal actually surprised me quite a bit because he missed it short.
It was a 63-yard.
Yeah, but I assume that like most guys in the NFL, like you line them up, they can kick it the distance. It's the accuracy at that distance that's the issue. And so I was surprised at that. Now, obviously I'm wrong there. Like that's not a correct assumption. That's just my personal assumption is that like most of these guys can kick it the distance.
I don't think you're wrong. Like I think most of your kickers you carry on a roster, you expect in like perfect conditions, which you're going to have in Detroit, that they can hit like a 65-yarder if push comes to shove. No, maybe 60s where you kind of draw the line. I'm just, were you watching the Buffalo Eagles game? Because dude,
I saw Elliott hit a deep one, but I don't know.
Yeah, 59-yarder in the rain. And I mean, he still had some, like it would have probably been good from 60, 61, 62, maybe not 63, but still.
Well, so Carlson's struggles may have had him take some of that off, right? Some of it off so that it goes straight.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what you choose to do because when you're kicking as hard as you possibly can, maybe it doesn't go straight, right? Like it doesn't always go the way you want, but because just like a golf swing, the harder you swing at golf, like the less accurate you usually are, right?
See, I find that to be like kind of the opposite. The harder I swing, the straighter the ball goes for some reason. With my driver,
the best golfer in the world, man.
I'm pretty damn good. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I swear, if I just swing out of my ass on the drives and am connecting, they tend to go pretty straight usually, but
Nice. So for me, like if I take just a bit off of my drive,
that's when mine go right.
mine will be much better. It generally speaking. But if I try to swing hard, who knows where it's going? Not me. I can tell you that much. I got no clue. Um, and then Love is a consistent underthrower. I think he's got too much confidence in his arm. He thinks there's no way Watson can run under a ball that I throw to the back of the end zone, and Watson would.
Yeah, that first play of the game, it definitely looks like if he would have laid it out there, maybe 2-3 more yards, he could have it. But it was a basically 53-yard throw on the in the air. So I guess judging that's got to be kind of tough. But I have no clue. I think he'll get there though. Like I really think it's all coming because he's consistently been improving this whole time. It seems like.
So if that's like the fault of your game, is that your deep ball isn't super consistent, right? Your deep ball doesn't hit everybody right in the hands. Do we have a problem?
I mean,
I don't think we
you don't have a problem, but then you don't have you do have a problem, I guess. Your problem is there's teams that have guys that can do that. Patrick Mahomes. I guess there's not like many super, but
there's only maybe like 6 guys in the league that do everything well.
Yeah,
That's maybe 6.
Yeah, I was knocking Josh Allen a little bit today, but he definitely shut me back up. I was kind of getting him into the overrated category. But one thing I think he does is so obviously he runs way above average. But after that, I think it's just he does everything pretty good. Like he lets it like rip a lot, but like he's not spectacular when it comes to accuracy. He's not. I mean, he's got a cannon, so I guess arm strength as well he has. But yeah, I think if he hits deep balls consistently, he's unstoppable, and he doesn't, and he's not unstoppable. I guess that's where I would say that your problem comes into play. But
right, and so like I'm trying to think if there's a guy. I mean, outside of Aaron Rodgers, is there a guy that just Burrow maybe just makes every throw he's supposed to?
Burrow, I think Mahomes is there.
See, I don't think so. I think Mahomes is at a different level with he keeps plays alive in a different way. Like, and like I don't watch him enough to know, but like he's got to be able to hit every throw though. Otherwise, you don't get the numbers you get to either.
Yeah, and he does. And his guys have been dropping so many balls this year. But yeah, I would put him and Aaron Rodgers pretty close together. Where watching Mahomes like for a full game, I'm pretty biased and stuff, but I've watched enough football, and if I take my unbiased stuff off, like Aaron Rodgers is quite possibly the best quarterback I've ever seen play the game where it comes to like hitting people and stuff like that. But I do think Mahomes keeps plays alive a little bit better. So that's where I would give him the nod.
So
Aaron Rodgers
definitely because we don't compare young Rodgers to Mahomes though either. Right? We compare Rodgers been in the league for 12 years where he doesn't run anymore. Right? He ran way more when he was
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is I think even with that, like if you are throwing young Rodgers into that, it's close, but Mahomes is a little bit better at that stuff than Rodgers was.
Yeah, he's ridiculous at keeping. So, but I mean, when we're talking about quarterbacks, and we're kind of getting off on a tangent here, but Burrow does the same thing. He escapes sacks better than probably any quarterback in the league. Right? Yeah, like guys get their hands on him, he just sneaks out. Don't know how he does it, but
and he hits his deep balls. Yeah, it gets ticky tacky at a certain point. But yeah, you're right. We're too far. We strayed too far.
We'll jump into like the opportunity. So an opportunity, I think, which we've already kind of discussed. We've left that ball short, right? The opportunity is to just chuck that deep. I think probably at least Watson and Reed can probably run under that ball just about every time. And so like just don't throw it to Dobbs or to Musgrave or Malik Heath. Who's the other one? Wicks. Like just don't throw it to those guys. Like they're just maybe not quite as fast. That's fine. But when you're throwing the deep ball to Watson, just put it on the back end zone line and let him run to that point and go get it. If he doesn't make it, we'll adjust from that point. Don't let the defender catch it.
Yeah. But another thing that came out good from that is it does look like Watson's learning to come back for the ball. Like where there was a play earlier in the year where you called it out pretty good. Is like he probably should have came back for it. Where it was an interception. And he probably could have got pass interference or broke up the pass where he just kind of was like, oh, he underthrew me. Like, but now it looks like he's learning like, oh, if I just hit the brakes and the dude's chasing me, he's probably going to get pass interference because he's not going to be able to turn his head around quick enough to make it look like he's playing the ball.
If he's playing me, he's going to try to grab me as I'm coming back.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens. I did see something on Twitter that was don't reward underthrown footballs, which is what they do with the pass interference in a lot of cases. And I'd agree with that 100% too. Right?
Yeah. There should be something to judge that a little bit better.
To some extent, the defender should be able to just continue running.
Yeah.
Right in a straight line and not be called for pass interference.
Yeah.
No, like if he comes out and he hooks a guy or whatever, that's a different thing. But like if you just run through him, but I get where that's really like you'd have to have really high level officiating, and it doesn't feel like that's what we have this year in the NFL.
And yeah, it's the most subjective call in probably all of sports. And then you're just adding even more. I always use
Yeah.
subjective and objective wrong. Is it objective?
No, objective is seen, and subjective is like uh,
How
how
the
you take it.
subject sees it, subjective.
No, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
No,
we don't
but
have to get down that one.
objectable is like it's observable. That's what I believe, right? It's
Okay.
observed, and so the other one is like kind of what you think about the situation,
Yeah,
right? So like
subjective.
things that you can't actually see, but like this is your perceived. And so I think it's the charge foul in basketball.
Yeah,
Charge
yeah.
foul. But
It's
this
pass
is
interference,
basically the same thing.
block charge. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's a blocker is a charge. Like,
Right, because there's contact, and then like usually the receiver's giving some, and the D back is. But and so I'm going to go into my threats here. Threats, losing confidence. I think that if this team has a few like ball bounces that go the other way, like I want to see where their confidence is after like some shitty things happen to them, and that's happened early in the year. And I think that we have obviously bounced back long term or in the short term here, but or like from game to game. But like, can you do that in a game where you get two bad ball bounces? Detroit ends up being up 14-3 after the first quarter. Can you drive back and like make a comeback win? I'm not positive, right? Like to be down pretty big and still come back. I know we did it early in the season, but I want to see what happens with our confidence when something like that happens. Now that we've gained a lot of confidence later in the year here.
yeah. And we got a good test against the Chiefs. And I think this goes on it more too. Like, there's going to be a microscope on situations like that because we're playing the Chiefs in prime time. And then we were playing the Giants in prime time. And then we still have the Vikings in prime time. So there's 3 more games that everybody's watching to see if that could rattle the Packers' confidence if it happens on a big stage. So
Yeah. Yep. So I think the obvious one is injuries. So like we get injuries at key positions. I think Love would be something like that. One of Zach Tom or the other tackle, like somebody on the offensive line, where we're then starting somebody who has not played as well this year. Maybe like both middle linebackers go down. If we're missing both of those guys, we might have a rough go of it. Campbell and Walker. They seem to be dominating. And if Gary goes down, I think that's going to kind of crush our defense. So there's just key people there that like I think would crush us. But injuries are going to crush just about any team most of the time, especially late in the year. And then I think a threat moving towards next year is that we're going to end up keeping Joe Barry, not because Joe Barry's defensive play calls are great and because he's this mastermind on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think he is. I mean, like he's like the epitome of like someone who is cashing out on his talent. I think like he's got so much upfront pass rush talent that it hides that it doesn't matter what play calls. Like we figure it out in a lot of situations. I just don't think that he's good at like play calling a defense. He might be a good coach, right? He might be able to like get guys to a certain point and like get them better, but I don't think he's good at calling the defense. And so we're going to end up with him calling our defense because the defense is playing very, very well. I think it's a players thing and not a coaching or like play calling thing. I shouldn't say he's not a good coach because like you might be able to develop players in a ridiculously good way.
yeah, and yeah, no, you're 100% right. But it does feel like as a defensive coordinator, he's kind of scared to do certain things at certain points. Like it does feel like the Packers on third down play more scared of not wanting to give up a third down more so than they want to like get a sack or do something like that. If that makes any sense. But yeah, it does feel like, oh, let's play off the ball a little bit and but it did seem a little bit better. I've been thinking his calls have been a little bit better since
I did.
since the seat has been heating up. I do want to see
So
what we did on third downs.
I did make a note of it that he did not have the D backs lined up behind the first down line at one point on like a third or a fourth down. So I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah. So Packers were 5 of 11 on third down, and Detroit was 7 of 15. So I guess we'll have
That's
to
not bad. Like I can deal with that. Like it is what it is. But I think that we're going to keep Joe Barry long term, and I don't think that it's his play calling. And maybe he'll evolve, and he'll be the best defensive coordinator that has ever existed. I just don't feel that way right now. His defense is playing really, really well, and they're keeping teams to a reasonable point total. And so I shouldn't bitch, but I just think he's a threat long term to the Packers, like in future years, not necessarily this year.
I like it. I like it. But yeah, no, I think that could be a problem. So it does seem like maybe he can get some like more advice calling the plays or whatever, have somebody else's input on what we're doing on third downs or whatever and whatnot. But ultimately we don't know shit about like the play calling in the defense. But it does seem like there's just some shit. And I've noticed this in the NFL like all around this year is like it tilted like real hard. So like growing up, and I would say most of the people who listen to it, like all 15 of you guys out there, like we grew up, yeah, we appreciate you. But like a 4-3, we grew up on a 4-3 defense. There was an I formation, there's a pro set, and teams would run out of that. You needed 1 yard. So you're gonna put your I set in, maybe like heavy tight end, whatever. I don't know, like all the play calling stuff, but it's just gone. And it does seem like teams who I say it's gone, but there's teams out there that are doing it and they're being successful.
Dolphins.
Yeah, like where on defense sometimes like just put 5 D linemen in and then cover man, and a lot of these problems get fixed. But it does seem like the league as a whole is pretty reluctant of they like having what we would call a nickel growing up, like very consistently on the field.
Well, so in like when I was leaving, they said that they had Quay Walker was covering Gibbs on a play, and the announcers were like, "You'll take that every day." Like Detroit will go after that all the time, and I think he broke the pass up, right? Like, and I do think that linebackers in today's games are different things, and even your nickel cornerback, he's a guy who's usually more like a safety than he is a corner, right? Like he's this hybrid type thing.
Yeah, I think Woodson kind of changed the game with that. I do think was that Down Capers defense that won the Super Bowl? Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what he did with Woodson and those guys was a step towards. Remember all those like crazy blitz packages we'd have? Like we'd have like 2 down linemen, but I think that was a lot
like,
to.
They did a lot of stuff like that in Pittsburgh too. I think with Palomalu, right?
Yeah.
So like he's a like a traditional like safety, like one of the safeties, but like he's so versatile and his instincts are so good that like you were kind of like, all right, we're playing 10 guys. This guy's going to do whatever he wants, and Woodson could kind of be in that same boat, right? I think there's guys on just about every team like that. It's whether they have the talent level, like a Woodson or a Palomalu. Like so, Micah Hyde, I think, is kind of that dude. He was just instinctual, and he just was never like he never had like the draft capital with the Packers, and he was never that top end dude. He was just there, right? Like he was just another player. He wasn't quite skilled enough to like take that step where you're Charles Woodson, right?
Yeah, and I think you got to have like one of the best safeties in the league, and we had Nick Collins to cover up on top. I don't know who Palomalu had playing next to him, but I know they had
sure it was
pretty,
good.
pretty nasty like safeties and stuff. So
the
like
were really good.
Yeah, and then to cover the back end. Like that was always my thought process behind that defense was like Nick Collins being able to be so smart on the back end allowed Charles Woodson to do whatever the fuck that he wanted to on the front end. So it would let him gamble because Collins was good at like reading what was going on deep. But
yeah, they might have had 2 guys on that team that were kind of those dudes, right? That were like just instinctual.
For sure. All right, Mike, you got any more on the Packer game?
Nope. Dominant. Looks like we're going to run this thing out 8-0 to finish it up.
No, I like it. And it's definitely catching some traction. I know on the pregame show today, maybe it was Strahan and Terry Bradshaw, both were like, the Packers do look like, not that this means much, but both look like, or they said they both said that the Packers look like a playoff team going forward. So I definitely think they do. Looking at their schedule on out, I mean, we have the Chiefs next week, so that is going to be a good test. It is in Green Bay, but then we have the Giants, Bucks, Panthers, Vikings, Bears. So like pretty soft on out.
So I mean, the Bucks are okay. Like they're okay, right? Like they're not great or nothing. They're not scary.
And that one's in Lambeau.
Vikings are okay, right?
I mean, I think the Vikings are good with Kirk Cousins, and now they're all right with Dobbs. Like that's how I would put the Vikings. And the Panthers are just really bad, and the Bears are almost as bad as the Panthers.
I do think that the Bears are getting a little bit more traction than they've had, right? They're playing slightly better than they have been, or than they were in week 1. However, I still don't think they're good, right? They haven't progressed in the same way that the Packers have.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm looking forward to this playoff run, so we'll see how it goes. You ready to hop into this Badgers game here?
Let's jump on it.
All right, so pretty typical Big Ten West game, or I mean, a pretty high scoring Big Ten West game this year. So Badgers win this game 28-14. Pretty typical Badgers start to a Big Ten West game, though. Giving up a touchdown on the first drive, Minnesota just marches down the field, runs in a touchdown, puts them up 7-0. Badgers continue to just start games awfully slow. They end up putting a drive together. It's their 3rd drive of the game, which ends up being in early to mid second quarter. So did get on the board. I guess they did that last week as well, but a little bit earlier. But tie this game up 7-7 and then give up another touchdown, go down 7-14. But after that, defense settles in, offense starts ticking. Mordecai played a good game. Braylon Allen was running the ball down Minnesota's throat. He had 26 carries for 165 yards. They do have a drive they capped off. It was a Braylon Allen 50-yard run and then another Braylon Allen 4-yard run for a touchdown. That put the Badgers up 21-14. Then hold Minnesota to a punt, get another touchdown, and that game was basically ice. If you look at it, the Badgers have given up 6 points in the second half over their last 4 games. But yeah, I don't want to go through the drive by drive as much as we do with the Packers. I think we hop in the Packers a little bit more because they have a better chance to, I guess, just make the playoffs and stuff like that. Where the Badgers season looks like we're heading to the Music City Bowl, which I'm pretty excited about because that's only an hour away from where I live.
Is that legit the one? Is that legit the one we're going to, or is it just an option?
Yeah. So I looked at like bowl projections, and like they have like 5 different sites that predict where teams are going to the bowls, and 4 of the 5 put the Badgers in the Music City Bowl. So
interesting. All right.
So yeah, I don't know exactly what's that. I would definitely go if it's in Nashville because that game's December 30th too. It's a Saturday. Perfect opportunity for me to get to a Badger game this one. But we'll just get straight into my talking points here. Braylon Allen, he is back for real. Like I said, we rode him, gave him 26 carries. He ended up getting 165 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game. Huge difference from what we've seen out of Braylon Allen in the past 2 weeks. It definitely looked like a different guy out there. He was turning, the runs that guys were just going down after the first hit into, he had like I said, a 50-yard run. I want to say he had like another 2 20-yard runs as well. So it looked like a true Badgers running game out there. Give a little shout out to our boy Yakimelli that we were shitting on a little bit, that looked like he had no vision at all. He did have one run where, what was it? It was a 13-yard run, and he made a couple good cuts in there. So that was promising. But then other than that, he had 8 more carries where he kind of looked like what we said he was, like just kind of putting his head down and running real hard. So maybe he's learning. He did have one run where I was pretty impressed by, but yeah, the running game was for real in this one. Tanner Mordecai looks like a great leader out there. I'm very impressed by him. He did exactly what he needed to do. He was 14 to 22, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. His interception came on a Hail Mary at the end of the first half. So it was just kind of a jump ball. It did get kind of scary. So I get why teams sit on the ball before going into half, because it almost looked like it could have been a pick six. Do you remember that?
So we did see a pick six this on Thursday from a Hail Mary. Right? Dolphins take one of those.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
I sat the Dolphins game out. That was Friday, right? Dolphins Jets.
Oh, yeah, maybe that one was it.
Yeah, I think it was. It was your prime tweet one that you thought there should be like a
there should be some type of like extra deal if the Dolphins win, right? Like Dolphin safe tuna or something.
Yeah.
Buy it cheap. I don't know.
Yeah, but I do remember the play you're talking about now.
Yeah, they get a pick six. But this is my thing about the Hail Mary. All right, so the Hail Mary, the only thing that you're required to do for both offense and defense is be near the ball. Right? Like just be in a big huddle, be near the ball. So if it gets picked off, you tackle that fucking dude. Like you should be like on top of him. You should never have an opportunity to return that to go anywhere. Like you should be right there. They throw the ball as high as they can in the air. Just get underneath the ball. And then when it's not, I'm not going to get it. This guy's over here is going to get it. Just hit him.
Yeah, apparently it doesn't work quite like that. But yeah, you could just.
But like I don't understand why.
Yeah, you could just do pass interference at that point and just be like, well, it didn't work. Like, I'll get another try. Yeah,
well, in the NFL you can't because then it's at the 1.
Oh, I'm talking about for the offense, but yeah, I guess that as well. But you probably think you just have a chance to catch the ball, so you're not going to do that. And then the other guy catches the ball, and you're like, oh shit, I probably should have just tackled him, but I didn't. And now he's running back.
You still should be right there. You still should be like right there. Like even if you both jump up to that ball, right, then you're just like grabbing it. I don't know. Like the Jets one, like nobody was around that dude. Like he had like 3 yards to make. It was like a punt where they weren't even close to him. Just like, all right, now I get to go.
Yeah, but that's the Jets as well. So
yeah, they are a dejected team at the moment.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the last thing I had in my talking points, already spent it. But yeah, the Badgers' second half defense has just been insane. Only giving up 2 field goals in the second half for the last 4 games. I looked back, I wanted to see if it was like a whole season thing. And it hasn't quite been like that, but they have been pretty damn good in the second half. Even if you throw the Ohio States in there, I think there was one game where they had like a fairly bad second half. But I'll get into our strengths here. So strengths, looks like we found a decent balance and a good way to use Allen in our air raid attack that we have going. I do think our offense is going to look a little bit different when Fickle gets all of his guys in, but he finally settled in and was like, I'm going to give Braylon Allen 26 carries. But in his defense, Allen has been hurt. So he hasn't really had the opportunity to do that. I mean, he did early in the year and it didn't seem like he was doing it, but I think he finally swallowed the pill and was like, hey, if we're going to finish the season strong, it's going to be on the back of the best player on the team. And that was cool to see. And it was cool to see that Allen was still running that hard. And maybe his stock dropped enough. This is going to be an opportunity, but I'm going to just hop into an opportunity while we're in the strengths that Braylon Allen's stock might have dropped enough to keep him at Wisconsin another year. That might be crazy, but okay.
I think that's wishful thinking.
Okay. Yeah. Wishful thinking could be. But next rank, Tanner Mordecai. like I said, 14 to 22, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and that was from that Hail Mary. He threw the ball to 7 different receivers, so doesn't discriminate out there. He will hit whoever he thinks is open, and yeah, he looks like a good quarterback. He takes off when he needs to take off. So he ran the ball 9 times for 69 yards. That a boy, hitting it on the dot, but yeah, he just looks good out there. Granted, we were playing Minnesota, so maybe I'm a little high off this game than I should be. We won the turnover battle. They didn't come till late, but we took care of the ball to the point where Minnesota had to press, and then we forced a fumble and picked one off. And then our last strength here is we just put the Gophers back where they belong.
Back in the gopher hole.
Yep. Stole the axe, and then we were super good at making it real annoying when we were chopping down the posts. Like my wife and I were watching this, and she was like, "They're not even hitting the post." Like she actually thought they were going to take like full swings at the post. Like they're
So
trying.
I actually mentioned to my wife, I was like, "What if one of these idiots like broke this stupid thing because like they're pretending to hit and like they actually hit it?"
Dude, it is like kind of the lamest thing ever. Like the only
the actual like chopping part.
Yeah, like, like, but it definitely is like dragging your nuts across someone's face after you dominated them.
And they stopped them from going to the other end zone too. Did you notice that?
No, I thought like the game.
They were running out and like they were like singing some song out there. The Minnesotans were Black and his wife, and I don't know the rest of the team, I suppose.
Yeah,
then, they were running across the field and some assistant stopped them, which is probably.
No, it was pretty cringy because I was talking to one of my buddies that's like a true Minnesota fan, like the only real one I know.
Like one of the guys that went to Minnesota.
No, he actually went to Duluth, but he grew up in Minneapolis. Like, but he's even when it comes to hockey, he's a Minnesota fan over Duluth, which I always found kind of funny. But like my buddies who are from Wisconsin who went to Minnesota, they're all basically Badger fans, and they were the whole time. But he was true Gopher fan, and I was like, this is pretty cringy. But like I was just rubbing it into him and sending him videos of them chopping down the thing. And then he was like, speaking of cringy, and then it was Fleck and like all the guys like arm to arm out there singing. Yeah, what a nerd.
So do Minnesota fans hate Fleck too?
I don't know. I didn't catch the temperature on it, but yeah, he definitely looks like a nerd. I do. So if you look at like Minnesota's success recently, or like
way better.
Yeah, like he has done a good job with the Minnesota program. So I bet that they do, but yeah, I don't know. I'm glad he's not our coach. That's all I will say.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, let's hop into weaknesses here. Slow start. We can't do that next year. I don't know who we're gonna get in the Music City Bowl. Hopefully we can fix this before next year starts. But our schedule is absolutely murderer's row next year with Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, probably USC, UCLA. I can't remember.
We're gonna have Oregon, Washington, or USC. One of the three.
Yeah,
sure, right.
Yeah. So I mean, probably 2 of those ones as well. Yeah, you can't spot a team 14 points. Not that we quite did that this time, but we spotted them 7 points for sure. But yeah, we come back and bounce back. But yeah, it's not going to work against your Alabamas, Ohio States, Michigans. But yeah, bad starts from the Badgers.
All right, so tentative schedule for the Wisconsin Badgers next year. We have Western Michigan, South Dakota, Alabama, USC, Purdue, Rutgers, Northwestern, Penn State, Iowa, Oregon, Nebraska, Minnesota. So no
Ohio State.
We got 2 open dates, so maybe we catch one of those guys. No Ohio State and no Michigan.
Oh shit! I thought for sure Ohio State was on the thing.
Well, maybe they had to redo things due to the
realignment.
Yeah, so like it's no longer like there's no longer a Big Ten West either. I guess we should probably mention that. So that ended or will end with the championship game or whatever, right?
Yeah, so they're definitely gonna have to get their shit together to keep this bowl streak alive next year. If we're not quite where we want to be yet.
I mean, you still have Oregon, Penn State, and Alabama, who are all top 10 teams right now. We're top 13, 14 teams.
Yeah, all good. All really good teams. Iowa's even 19, which I think is crazy, but I think that's kind of
if you don't lose, you only have 2 losses. I mean, if you don't lose, like how do you fall really below that? And it's not like you're playing scrubs. You're playing a Big Ten schedule, which some of those teams are scrubs. Like we haven't been very good. However, right? Like you did play maybe Michigan and Ohio State, and those might be your 2 losses, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not looking at exactly Iowa's schedule right now, but
maybe they didn't play Ohio State. Maybe they didn't play Michigan. They just played Ohio State.
Yeah, that could be. They beat the shit out of us. Well, as far as Iowa beating the shit out of anybody goes. So their losses to Penn State, they lost to them 31-0, and then they lost to Minnesota 12-10. So,
okay.
So yeah, weird losses in there, but But let's roll on. And then the last weakness that I have, I don't know if I would really consider it a weakness, but it just seems like we put everything together a little bit late. And like I said earlier, granted, we were playing Minnesota. So who knows if this is a true show, but the way that the offense ran in this game, it felt like if we were playing like this earlier in the year, might have had a shot at the Big Ten West to go get next against Michigan. So opportunities we have coming up, get to showcase whether this is real, what we're doing in the Music City Bowl. Hopefully, fingers crossed on that one. Allen and Malusi could come back. So that's, like Mike said, my wishful thinking. And then just a strong finish if we do. I mean, we ended up winning our last 2 games. Sure, should I switch to Iowa schedule right when this? But, a strong finish could help us in the recruiting and transfer portal window. So those are opportunities. And then threats, just people leaving. So Allen leaves. That's going to be big. Mordecai is definitely gone. Goats on defense. Najung Meta is gone. So it did look like most of our defense, like when I was going through this list, is junior or our juniors. And I don't know, I don't hear much about their draft capital or anything like that, but it does seem like next year we are going to have a lot of senior talent on the defensive side of the ball. So that is hopefully good. Like I said, we're missing Goats, who's great. And then Najung Meta, who that's one of the guys I see making the most tackles out on the field.
I want to say that he was up for he was a preseason opportunist for whatever not Blitnikoff, that's the wide receiver. It's probably I can't think of it. Nope, Walker's the runner.
Yeah, the linebacker award, whatever it is. But yeah, I thought you were right with Blitnikoff, but yeah.
That's the wide receiver one, 99%.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to fact check you on that one. But that's all I have for the Badger game. Do you got anything that you want to throw in there?
No, I was pretty happy to see them win the Axe again, right? So that is a game that I care that they win year in, year out, whether you're good or bad.
The butt kiss award, Mike. Damn, that's too easy.
Yeah, way too easy, and I fucking missed it. But the Axe is one that I feel like that should just stay in Wisconsin. That's one I never want to lose. I don't know, that's a game I care about winning, even if we're 2-10 or whatever it is, right? 12 games.
Yeah.
I want one of those wins to be Minnesota.
Yeah, and I do think Minnesota missed a chance at taking the Axe 3 years in a row. This was their chance to do it. That was nice that we held that off, and I do think the Axe is going to be in Wisconsin for the foreseeable future. So that was great to see. So, but yeah, this whole weekend of college football is one of my favorite weekends of football of the year. It's always like Thanksgiving time, all the rivalry games, good times. I tuned into the Florida State game. That game was pretty awesome. The Iron Bowl was amazing. But yeah, Wisconsin, Minnesota was right up there with me. I did not go to so there's a FCS team in the city that I live in, and they were in the playoffs. And I thought it would have been a pretty cool opportunity to go see Austin Peay play Chattanooga in the playoffs, where it meant something. But same time as the Badgers, Minnesota.
With Austin Peay, because you're in the city with Austin Peay.
Yeah, and no, they didn't. It looked like it was like an amazing game. I was watching scoreboard because I'm choosing Austin Peay as my FCS team, and they lost 33-36 on a last second field goal.
Dang it!
So
they'll be there next year. They're gonna they'll just be the best team next year.
Yep, they're gonna be competing with North Dakota. I guess Appalachian State's out of there, so they don't really have to compete with them anymore.
So Appalachian State is in
the Sun Belt, I want to say, or some D1 little conference. But yeah, that is all I have for the show. Unless you got something to add to it.
I don't. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. As Pat would say, I shouldn't say it like that. That's a bad thing to say. I was going to say, as Pat would say, we love you. We love you.
But we love you. Appreciate the support. And Mike, take him to the outro.
If you're doubting the Badgers, the Bucks, the Brewers, or the Packers, you can eat our shorts. Roll it.
All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Beat them. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Eat my shorts.